back to International Green IT Awareness Week. This is part 2 of the Perfect Storm presentation. My name is William Ehmcke. I am a member of the Perfect Storm Consortium. So what did we cover in part 1? We really looked at the first 2 of our villains, and that's the rising price in the cost of energy and the rising demand for computing. What we're now going to do is take you into the third of our villains, which is the whole area of compliance and governance. We've seen legislation recently introduced into Australia for data centre metrics, the data centre NABERS rating. This is similar to ratings that exist elsewhere in the world, LEED and BREEAM. So now we have actually a finite set of how we're going to look at measuring the energy efficiency and effectiveness of our data centres and how will we comply with this new legislation. We now have a common vernacular on how do we use and measure our data centre requirements through PUE. We will also be looking at workload issues, and we'll be measuring our ratings in what that means in terms of CO2 emissions. So this is a new range of compliance and governance issues that companies need to consider. The fourth of our villains is actually looking at the cost of energy and monitoring and managing the cost of energy. On the slide, you'll see that from the bottom to the top, countries are rated in their involvement and the metrics to which they apply to measuring their electricity consumption. You see that New Zealand is possibly the worst offender and Japan is the best at actually making sure that the CIO sees his or her energy consumption. Using a metric developed by Connection Research with support from Fujitsu, we have a global index on sustainability. What we've found, if a CIO is measured on the rate of it and a KPI is the amount of electricity that they use, their sustainability performance will increase by about 94%. So just the mere act of being shown how much electricity you use has a profound effect on the outcomes. We also have some very interesting research from the Global E-Sustainability Initiative, which is the group of telco consortia in Europe. Their study, Smart 2020, is addressing the fact that IT can be part of a solution and not necessarily the problem. Their studies have found that through clever deployment of IT systems, IT has the ability to punch above its weight by about 7 times, and that's across a range of industries: logistics, building management, agriculture, etc. So IT, properly applied, is actually part of the solution. So therefore, when we're stepping out now and looking at our 4 villains is the price of energy, the demand for computing, compliance and governance, and actually just taking the time to focus on what it is that you're paying for and what it is that you're using. Now, how do we go about closing the gap? We think there are really 3 sets of initiatives you need to undertake. You need to have much better data analytics around your IT and how that is relative to consumption. There's a whole role of asset management and what are you going to do about e-waste, one of the fastest growing areas, and how are you going to look at managing the logistics and deployment of computing. And finally, you've got the whole life cycle management issues for IT, which encompass your governance, your purchase, your disposal strategies and your deployment strategies. Effectively working on these 3 things will ameliorate the impact of those 4 villains. Thank you, and thank you to FITS for the International Green IT Awareness Week. I'm William Ehmcke. You can contact me if you wish to know more about the Perfect Storm and these villains, or visit our website perfectstorm.net.au. Each one of these villains could be a presentation and a long discussion in itself, so we've tried to provide you with a condensed overview of how you can address your energy management and your IT requirements. For further information, please get in touch. Thank you.